Hey, everybody. Today we are having a conversation with Jeremy Adams, writer of many, many things. I don't think I'm going to try and list anything right now. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. No, I'm glad to be here.
Great.
Thank you for coming on. And I don't know if you recall, we've met a couple of times, me and you, at New York Comic Con.
New York. Yeah. It's a weird thing with conventions because I've only been doing them for a couple of years now. I mean, I really haven't been writing comics that long, but the convention's even shorter. And it all blurs into one at a certain point.
Yeah,
You're just like,
I know.
Gosh, there's so many,
We do one every weekend. We go to one every weekend. So it's just like.
No, you don't. Do you really?
Pretty much, yeah. It's part of the show.
Since
that's what we tell everyone.
Since New York Comic Con, I think we've been at the show every week. Yeah, even going before for like something like 6 or 7 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Because we did New York, then I did Baltimore, and then we have a bunch of small ones. We had a table last week. It gets crazy.
I went to Terrificon for the first time, which was really fun.
I love Terrificon.
Yeah. That's great.
Most of the conventions we go to are kind of the small, old-fashioned kind, like sort of like a Knights of Columbus Hall kind of thing. But those those. I was going to say, I find those a lot better than the big cons.
Yeah.
You know, they're a lot more focused on comics. There's more. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You were at New York Comic Con, you said, right?
I went over and talked to him at New York Comic Con. That's how he's on the show.
Oh, we were, okay.
You were at New York Comic Con. You were with me. We talked to him, and that's how he's on the show.
See? I'm not the only one whose memories. No, just kidding.
Do you know? Oh my God, I can't remember anything for very long anymore.
You took a picture of me with him. Remember that? The whole.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. I do remember that. So you said just now that you haven't been writing comics all that long. Yeah. What brought you? Well, where'd you come from, and what were you working on before? And then how'd you come to comics?
So, the origin story really is that my dad had drawn some comics when I was growing up, and my parents were divorced when I was very young, about 5. And obviously, his love of comics kind of spilled over. You know, you kind of gravitate. Oh, my dad's into this, so I'm into this. And because I didn't see him that much, I think it was always kind of a safe place and a place that we both can communicate on. And then, of course, it becomes your own thing where you become obsessed with the thing. Yes. So he had done some, in the 70s and 80s, did some Ghosts. He did a couple of Captain Adams and some Alpha Flight, drawing wise. But there's never been a time I've never had like comic books in my life. But, when I was growing up, there's no path to do this stuff. Right. I very, like in high school, really got into film, and I wanted to direct stuff and do stuff like that. And I went to college for film and a minor in acting. And then I came out to Los Angeles. And again, I had no idea how to break into things. And at one point I just started writing, and I got my first opportunity with my mentor boss named Jim Krieg, who is an animation guru. And he gave me my first shot on Green Lantern, the animated series. So that was my first credit. And so I'd been out here probably 10 years just trying to figure out how to break in. And the industry is fits and starts. It's like I got in Green Lantern, the animated series. And then it would be like a couple of years, and I got something else in a couple of years. And then eventually I started working on the show called Justice League Action. And that show, around then, things started snowballing. I started getting a lot more work, a lot of work with Lego in particular. And because I was working primarily with Warner Brothers, I was always touching on a lot of superhero stuff. And it's great because I know all about that stuff, and I'm an uber nerd. It was great. At one point, I even had a job at the marketing firm that my title, they paid me money. My title was Marvel Specialist. And I was just they brought me into meetings to talk about marketing strategy, but how the movies related to the comic books. It was the silliest thing to get money for ever, but I loved it. Anyways, so I'm writing animation, doing a lot of, I did a Batman a Batman animated movie called Batman Soul of the Dragon with Bruce Timm.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, thank you. I did a Super Sons movie, a lot of Mortal Kombat animated movies. I worked on Supernatural, some Scooby-Doo stuff. And it was around when I was working on Supernatural, I get a call from DC, and they're basically like, hey, DC thinks that Warner Brothers is doing an exceptional job adapting and playing with the characters. And so Dan DiDio called down and wanted a list of the best writers that do that. And I was on that list. And so we went to this big meeting with Dan DiDio and Jim Lee, and there were a lot of compatriots of mine, whether it was Tim Sheridan or Megan Fitzmartin or a bunch of people in my animation circle. And basically, Dan had this crazy 5G idea and he was explaining to us, and we're going to write it. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is the dream, because I've been trying to break into comics for ages. I just don't know how, I've been doing Hollywood stuff. And then he got let go. And I thought, oh no, that was the dream. I was so close, but my name was still on a list. And an editor named Mike Cotton asked me if I wanted to do a backup. So I done 4 backups. They were like, 2 each. One was for Superman World at War that Philip Kennedy Johnson was writing for Future State, and I did a backup in that. And then I did a backup in the Suicide Squad Future State, and that was my first comic. And it was, I can't even tell you the feeling. It was the greatest feeling in the world. And then after that, literally, Mike Cotton came to me and he said, hey, do you have any ideas for the Flash? And I'm like, sir, I am a nerd of a certain age. I have ideas for everything, And I was like, I have this idea. And he goes, great, it's yours. And he just handed me the Flash. And that is really where, people started getting to know me. I think they thought I was going to beat up on Wally, and I kept going on podcasts going, no, I swear to you, like, he's going to be fine. This is just going to be a fun book. And I did that until they let me go and then put me on Green Lantern. And I've just been kind of rolling in comics ever since. It's been great. I mean, I do have more animated stuff. I have an animated Batman Nightfall adaptation coming out this year, or 2026, which I'm excited about.
That's a great storyline.
Oh, dude. Well, and it's crazy because I mean, I don't know how long ago it was you've read it, but like,
a long time. Yeah, it's been a while.
So many issues.
Yeah.
It's like Nightfall, Night Quest, Night's End, and there's so many issues. So to like try to condense Nightfall into an 85-minute, animated movie is a task. But I've seen it. It's unbelievable. It's great. It's violent. It's dark. Bane is scary. Tim, Drake is Tim Drake. He's got the cool tab-eye shoes and he looks just like it. And it's great. Yeah. It's great. I can't wait for people to see it.
I like that you're pointing out Tim Drake. I just did a short for the channel about Tim Drake, and I think he's a really underrated character in DC. I don't think he gets enough love from fans. Everyone likes Dick Grayson, but I really like Tim Drake.
No, Tim Drake was for me because it was like, first of all, the redesign of his costume was just rad, right?
Well, that was great.
He's not in his undies, and he was like a detective.
Yeah.
And the Chuck Dixon, like the Robin Year One and stuff, and him going around and learning martial arts and all that. But it was also like for me anyways, the double header of, remember the Dixon Nightwing book that he was doing Scott McDaniel. And at the same time he was doing Robin, and they would kind of cross over and have this really great brother relationship. Yeah. And I just love both of those books so much. I was a big Tim Drake guy. And they just, I think when Damian showed up, they didn't really know what to do. Well, I thought Red Robin would have been interesting. Just keep him that way. But I know that Chuck Dixon was going to make him, or wanted to make him Blue Beetle at one point.
Really? That would have been a neat move. Yeah,
it was right during Countdown. It was like Ted Kord was kind of hitting on Barbara Gordon, and he would have like they wrote Ted Kord as having like all these health issues, and the idea was he was going to pass his mantle on to Tim Drake.
Oh, that would be an interesting move. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
he's a great character, and I feel like
great character.
They just don't have enough for him to do all the time.
How many Batman titles do you need?
But there are too many already. But yeah.
They should do, I mean, honestly, they should. I still think he could have a good book. I just think that you have to write him like he was in terms of like his detective prowess, and he's not whiny. He was. For goodness sake, he was a great character, very competent character.
Yeah.
Well, he has the Batman Robin Tim Drake right now is one of the Batman. There's 3 Batman and Robin series going on right now. One of them is Tim Drake.
Yeah.
Tim's in the Mad Fraction series. He's the Robin right now. Yeah.
They've been really good. What character would you like to write? You've done the Flash, done Green Lantern. You did a great Aquaman. Your Aquaman was fantastic, but the character that's like often not really. You brought him to new levels with that.
Oh, but people are so resistant to pick up an Aquaman book. It's hilarious. I try to explain to people like, no, man, it's We're doing Conan underwater right now. You know, like it's a lot of fun. I've obviously overpowered him, but no one stopped me. So okay, you know.
And you brought Arion back, right?
Yeah, Arion, and the Lady of the Lake is there. Captain Nemo's in there.
I'm a big Arion fan, so when you brought him back, I was like, "Oh, Arion's finally back." I'm trying to complete the original run. And I was like, Arion's back. What?
Yeah,
a character you don't see.
No, right. I oftentimes I look at what character, because there are people in DC that kind of have dibs on characters,
right?
And I will try to like pull things in and get clear. So I try to look for some obscurity, because there are a lot of characters I really love that can't, evidently, what they tell me is can't sustain their own book. But even if they don't, I really enjoy putting them in a book and just kind of filling out the book with other characters. Because if you're telling me I get to have access to the toy box, then I'm freaking going to use it. Like
so Prez and brother to geek, all of you bringing those back too.
Brother Power the Geek.
That's good though. That's good. I love, I mean, it was funny, even with the Lady in the Lake and Nemo, I was like, they've never done this in DC Continuity. Like, that's weird. I was like, it seems like a layup when it comes to things like Aquaman. Right. And then even in Green Lantern, I was like, Star Sapphire's kind of befriended Dove, and I like bringing Dove because I love Hawk and Dove. Right. A lot of the old Charlton characters, obviously. Anything Ditko related, I really dig for some reason. But when, to your question, I think the top of the hill is Batman. I've always wanted to write some Batman stuff. I've done it in animation. I've done it for Lego animation. I've done it for regular animation. I'd love to do it for comic books more, on a singular focus. On the other side of the world, I'm a Captain America fan. The Mark Gruenwald Captain America run was big for me growing up, where it was Captain America No More. And that was right when the John Walker stuff showed up, and D-Man and all that stuff. I love all that. But I also love Daredevil. Now, I would love to do Daredevil, except that I'm absolutely terrified to do Daredevil, because I don't know if there's been a bad run of Daredevil. Like, weirdly, it seems like the most consistently good, where it's Frank Miller or Wade or Chip or whatever. It seems like even Ann Necente's run was just fabulous. John Romita Jr.'s art. I don't know. I don't know.
I was trying to think of a bad run, and I'm like, well, I don't really know enough about Daredevil, maybe, but like, you're saying all the runs I've read are Miller and Chip Zdarsky,
all the ones that
Mark Wade. Out. Yeah, those are all the ones that you're like, oh man,
and they usually go for a long run. Like Daredevil's gone for a long time, so it's surprising to me, because you're just like, Captain America, you can globetrot, right? Like you can step around, but he is more kind of Batman related because it's in Hell's Kitchen. But if you've been to Hell's Kitchen now, you're like, what's he protecting? It's so gentrified.
They've even tried to change the name of Hell's Kitchen in New York.
Did they really?
Yeah. They tried. Real estate developers were like, Hell's Kitchen's a bad look because now it's really expensive, and so they tried to go with. I think it was Turtle Bay they were trying, which I was like,
something weird.
Ugh. It was but New Yorkers still call it Hell's Kitchen, but it's not Hell's Kitchen anymore. Yeah.
So you mentioned a bunch of you obviously been involved in comic books, right? You collected comic books growing up, and I mean this much must be a dream come true for you.
It's one of the most satisfying things I've ever gotten to do. I mean, I can't explain it other than, with animation, it's weird. You'll write something and then you hand it over, and then like 2 years later, maybe you'll see it,
right.
And even with live action, there's still a pretty big lead time. With comics, it seems more immediate, and the level of creativeness, like the barrier. Like, there's still a lot of hoops to go through, right? Because I'm dealing with a large corporation that has its own interest when it comes to characters.
Right.
So I can't do anything I want. Right. But it's a much lower bar than almost everything else I've done. So there's almost a creative purity when I get to work with an artist, and it's really just like me and the artist and the editor. And that's it, in a way. And then it just gets heightened by like colors and inkers and letterers. But like, I'm very lucky. It feels so creative, fulfilling, but as a guy that just loves this stuff and that never in his wildest dreams thought I would be able to do it. I mean, the honest truth is, even when I was doing animation, I thought, oh, if I can just get 2 television shows on the air, like if I can just write 2, then I can teach somewhere. That was kind of like my thought process.
Yeah.
And with comic books, I was like, they told me right away with the Flash, they said the odds on you writing more than 12 are almost zero. They said usually we change people up after a year or whatever, but I had done like 36 issues of that. And I'm so doggedly stupid. Like I started at 768, and I thought, if I can just get to 800, and I'd already started planning, like I'm going to get to 800. And I remember we were having lunch with my buddy Tim and Jeff Johns. We were doing Flashpoint Beyond. And I was like, I really want to get to 800. And Jeff's like, don't get over your skis. Like most people don't get that much. And I'm just thinking, that's all I need to do, And I'm already starting to bug him. Like, if I get 800, would you write one of the sections in there, And I'd become friend with Josh Williamson. So I'm like, Josh, would you do it, And the same with Mark Waid. I'd become friend with all these guys separately. And it was always like, well, you're not going to get Jeff to do it, and you're not going to get Mark to do it. I'm like, I will absolutely puppy dog these guys into doing it. And I'm not above begging. And they were very, very kind to do it. But between the specials and the annuals and the tie-ins, I did, 36, if not more, of those books. And it was great. And I still had more to do when they let me go. It was just tragic, But it is a dream come true. I mean, beyond comprehension. It really is. I just wish you paid.
Yeah. We all. And you recently did something that's not normally done in this day and age. You signed an exclusive deal with DC, right?
Yeah. They came to me and asked me to sign an exclusive. And at that point I was writing, 3 books for them. One of them co-written with Morgan Hampton, the Green Lantern Corps. I was doing Green Lantern. I was doing Aquaman. But I was doing Flash Gordon for Mad Cave, and I would basically do anytime they'd ask me to do like a, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I'm the Mikey likes it of comic books. Of course,
Sure.
And so I think it probably made more sense for them just to try to lock me in, because I know I'd done some digital Marvel stuff.
Okay.
And I was sniffing around, hopefully getting some, I wanted to do some other Marvel stuff, but they came in and my kids have braces, you know what I mean? Like, they're like,
sure. Oh yeah.
And the entertainment industry had kind of collapsed, and, I had some animation work, but it wasn't as much as usual. So it seemed like a great idea. And the honest truth, everybody at DC has been treating me so nice since I've started there. I mean, it's been a while, right? Like I got there during COVID. Warner Brothers gets bought out by AT&T. Then it gets switched over to, Discovery. So there's all these hiccups. People are getting fired left and right.
Yeah.
And I really think because I turned things in on time and people seem to be happy with it, like I just got left alone and nobody bothered me. And I was able to just kind of sneak around anybody getting fired. But people have been really, really kind. And from top to bottom, I just find them to be really nice. And DC's kind of having this neat renaissance right now. And
they are. Yeah.
It's really been fun to watch and see, and as a fan go, oh man, like Scott Snyder doing, his absolute Batman, or even when he and Josh are talking about DCKO, there's such a zaniness, there's a fun to the insanity of it that it's contagious. And you go, man, I gotta jump on this bag. I gotta do a little more. I gotta push myself to do a little crazier, think a little bigger. And that's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, what are you doing with KO? You have a couple.
I have 2 announced. 2 announced, 1 not announced. But I have 2 announced. One is one's called The Kids Are All Fight,
right.
And it's essentially there's some younger superheroes.
Great title.
Yeah, that was my editor. I fought against it. I was like, no, it's got to be called Young Justice or not Young Justice. And he's like, but he loves his music titles. So basically John Kent wants to go down and start fighting, but they're like, Donna and Arsenal, like, you got to take care of these kids. He's like, what kids are you talking about? And it's like all these kids up there, a few of them that really want to get into the fight. And so they kind of Goonies sneak away and really get into some of the stuff happening on Earth. And John has to get some help from Cassandra Cain, and they have to go down and help him fight. The thing is, there's a character that's going to be reintroduced into DC continuity in this issue that I can't talk about, but it's going to be really, really cool for the fans of that character. And I'm super excited to see. I'm like, it's one of those things where you want people to buy the book and you don't want to spoil anything. And I'm like, oh man, guys, you gotta see this, because if you're a fan of this character, you're gonna be
guess
really
who you
nuts.
think it is. Oh, those listening, guess in the comments, who do you think the character is going to be? That's a great one. Who is it going to be?
I feel like they kind of ruined it in the little like solicit, but that's about all I'll say. That's my
Ooh, there's a clue there too. I'm gonna have to investigate that.
The other one is I've been begging them to let me bring back Omega Bam Man, who's my intergalactic space wrestler that I created in the pages of the Flash. And he's like the amalgamation of every 80s wrestler into one, like Jake the Snake meets Hulk Hogan meets,
that's great.
And so they said, no, we're not letting you do that. Like, no one's going to buy that. And I've even got on my wall, I've got my custom Wham wrestling belt, multiverse champion wrestling belt. We cut a promo when he first showed up in the garage of Warner Brothers. And I remember, and I had this like blonde wig with these things and belt, and I'm like, and people are driving by like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's fine, but it's so they said, no, you can't do that. And then my editor said, I tell you what if we did a tie-in where Kyle gets embroiled with the wrestlers across the multiverse somehow? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the dream. I can do the origin story of Omega Bam Man. We'll have a bunch of wrestling and fighting, and I had such a fun time. And Kian Tormey is doing the main part of the book, and he's sending me stuff, and I'm laughing because, again, it feels the best stuff is the stuff you feel like you got away with something.
Yeah.
That was
no one noticed.
Yeah. There's like Super Sons, the movie that I did. That was one of those times where we had been pitching it to Warner Brothers, but they said theatrical was doing it, and so we weren't allowed. And then between one of the companies coming in and buying it, there was like this weird window where they're like, yeah, go ahead. And I wrote it so fast. We got it in production so fast so that like we knew like a couple months later, like, well, we want to see what you guys did. And we're like, uh-oh, they're going to shut us down, but they didn't. And it turned out wonderfully. The other one was the Johnny Cage. It is Johnny Cage Mortal Kombat movie. That is I just wanted to do a Shane Black. It takes place in Los Angeles during Christmas, 1984. Gilbert Gottfried's last performance.
Really?
Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing plays Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing, but she's also a demon from Netherworld. I mean, it's absolutely unhinged. And the fact that they let me do it, I felt like I just got away with something. So
what's the name of that? We can watch that on HBO Max, I'm guessing?
Yeah. It's called Mortal Kombat Legends. That's the main overarching thing. There's 4 of them, and this one's called Cage Match. Yeah.
Okay.
Joel McHale is Johnny Cage. He's unbelievable.
Oh, he's perfect for that character. I'll definitely watch that. Yeah. So now with KO is highly involved. Are you a wrestling fan?
Yes. It's funny. I dip in and out.
Here's the time when we don't need Brian anymore. I can get up and leave. This often occurs. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've been watching wrestling since I was 5 years old. I was a wrestling fan, but I lost touch. So with this KO, DCKO really ties heavily into AEW and the sponsorship going on.
I saw that. Yeah. I read that. Yeah. In fact, it was one of the first times something that I created. I read the tie-in and it ties into the wrestlers across the multiverse. And I'm like, well, that's what? Like, it's a weird feeling to have done something and somebody else takes it and like writes about it. And you're like, well, that's weird. Yeah.
And like, cause a lot of the covers, there's variant covers that have the AEW wrestling. Like, do they offer you tickets to go?
No, but when I did the Omega Bam Man issue, one of the WWE refs, Jason Ayers, is a great guy, was like, holy crap, I love this. Raw's coming to Los Angeles to lead up to WrestleMania. Would you want to go? And so me and a bunch of other people went and got like ringside tickets.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
And first night I brought my wife, and she's just like, what is this? And it was like, it was so mind blowing in person. Because the only other time I had gone in person, when I first moved to Los Angeles, I went to a Halloween Havoc in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Probably, might have been 99 or 2000, one of those.
So right before they ended, right before they closed down.
I was so far in the nosebleeds, like it wasn't as fun, but getting close was like, wow, that's right. And actually it was at the Staples Center, whatever it is. I don't know it's called Staples, but the way it was organized, it seemed like everybody was very close to the ring. It was cool. It was
really the cool. Multi-tiered cage that they did, the three-tiered cage. So you were at one of those. Those are highly memorable. So you seem to be able to do
the women. They were unbelievable.
Nitro girls.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Anyway, sorry. You seem to be able to go ahead.
You seem to be able to do anything you want. So why don't you push for the wrestler to be part of AEW? Like they've done it before. RoboCop has been in wrestling. There's been a whole bunch of these strange.
Oh, that would be cool. Do like the Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joe vibe.
Yeah. Or like, you get him to actually come out. Push that on DC. That's a good way to promote.
It would be such a cool thing. I should have, I meant to do a moment where like I wanted Peacemaker to fight one of these guys just because I was like, well, John Cena's, Peacemaker. I'm trying to get into your head, but I'm also like, a lot of like some of the characters I've created. So the Omega Bandman is a big one. Gold Beetle, which is like the far off descendant of Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. Those are characters and this new one called Odyssey that my daughter helped me with. Like, I do create a lot of other characters that come in and out of the books, but those are the characters that I'm trying to build up more than I am I don't want to force feed anybody. If they take off, cool, they take off, but they're a lot of fun to write. I just don't want, sometimes I felt this way about Cyborg when he showed up. I felt like they were just trying to shove Cyborg down my throat as a kid. Yeah. And I'm like, man, and then my logic brain was just like, can't they help the guy out? Because like Red Tornado's an android. He looks really good. Like, can't you give him the fake skin so he doesn't feel so like, Quasimodo, that was good. And I've come to like Cyborg, but I felt like there are certain characters they just keep. And in fact, I like Cyborg when Booyah showed up, the Teen Titans Go Booyah. Now this character's amazing. But I couldn't get a handle on it. I always find that a weird thing. Characters I just can't get a grip on. And then Mr. Terrific was one of those. And then I started writing them and I was like, what if I wrote him like Buckaroo Banzai? And then suddenly I was like, oh, I love this guy. He's
come a long way recently. Mr. Terrific's really come. I mean, Cyborg is a good one because they were really forced down us because of superpowers. So because of cartoons. Yes. So him and Firestorm. Yes. We want to sell toys. These are characters we create. Yeah. And I feel the same way about Firestorm. At first I was like, wait a second.
Who is this guy? Yeah. There's no comic book with him.
There you go. Yeah. But I felt the same way about the Wonder Twins. So that's a whole, like, they're not in my comic books. Why are they on my cartoon?
But now
I love them.
Yeah, right.
I absolutely love them.
That was like the Fantastic Four cartoon was like, it was Herbie, right?
Yeah. Herbie.
And I remember going, well, I don't understand. As fans, you get anytime they change, like, anything. It's funny. I remember somebody saying something like, well, they made this character black. You're racist. I go, no, I'm just a nerd. If they change the hair color, I get upset. You know what I mean? Like if their costume's slightly different, I'm like, what?
But like you said, that Herbie, where was the Human Torch? Why am I going to have with no Human Torch? I didn't know for years later why. Yeah, that because they didn't want kids lighting themselves on fire.
I was just going to say, I know.
I didn't know that.
See, I would have guessed they were trying to jump on the Star Wars bandwagon. Robot.
It had no robot to do with that. It was they were afraid kids would light themselves on fire. Johnny Storm had been around and for years and years, 20, 30, and no one had done it. In the cartoon, they expected people to light themselves on fire.
Well, that's because when I had kids, I'm like, no, just kidding. But I remember when I started doing cartoons, the BS&P broadcast standards and practices, they would have the craziest notes. It's like, you can't throw the backpack on the kid's face because a kid may think it's fine to do that and they'll suffocate. And you're like, wait, what's happening? Like these really long strings of what ifs. So everything became incredibly bland. I'll show my kids old cartoons that I grew up with and they're flabbergasted about how violent. Or, G.I. Joe, they're just like, what?
Yeah.
it's like one of those things where you look up like these little towns in the Midwest that have these insane laws, like you can't carry ice cream in your pocket, things like that. And the reason for that is that somebody probably did it, so if they're saying like, don't put a backpack on somebody's face, that means at one point somebody contacted the network and said, this kid, got hurt, so we can't
it's like the hair dryer thing. It's like, don't use in the bathtub. It's like, okay, what,
Really?
And then when I had little kids, and I have 2 daughters, and I would take them to the park, and I quickly realized that all safety guidelines are because little boys are monsters.
Yeah.
And then I remember me as a kid, and I'm like, yeah, no, I was a total monster. Like,
we pretty much try anything. We'll do anything.
I wanted to see if I could break it. I wanted to see what is the engineering quality of this swing set. Let's find out.
I'd say you just reminded me of something. My friend, he was the only one who had one of the really good, like I had a bunch of G.I. Joe figures when I was a kid because I love G.I. Joe, but he had the F-14 plane, which I couldn't afford when I was a kid. No, and I didn't know anyone who had the aircraft carrier. We just got to put that at the side. Like nobody had that.
Yeah.
You had to have a separate room in your house for that thing. Yeah. But he had the F-14, and about a month or 2 after he got it, he filled it with fireworks. And
of course he did. Yeah. I can't tell you how many G.I. Joes I blew up with fireworks. I'm like, I'm sorry, Grunt. One of us has to go through this,
We honor you for your sacrifice.
I was really poor too. I couldn't even afford transport. I was a GoBots guy because it was like that's all my family could afford.
That says it all right there. GoBots says it all. That's like the GoBots. But that's like a defining thing. No, not.
Yeah, I think they were. They were cool characters.
No. I got to ask a question because one of the things and I've been a fan for many years. I have all your issues. You are a playable character on Scribblenauts?
Yeah. Scribblenauts Unmasked. So like me and this other guy got tasked for it. And I was a stay-at-home dad.
Right.
You're trying to do anything.
And that's early on though, right? Early on.
I
had that game in my house.
You can play Unmasked. And basically we had to, there was a bat computer in the game. Right. The DC Scribblenauts Unmasked, and we had to load the bat computer with every description of every DC character and every variation of that DC character that exists. And so Eric Wallace, who ended up becoming the showrunner on The Flash, he and I would like split it up and just data entry, like try to figure out the real, and then put it in. And so then they came to us and they said, hey, one of the perks is that we get to put you in the game, and we can put somebody else in the game too. So I put my brother in the game. So at the time, and I don't know, here's the thing. I think it's on the original version of it. Right. And I don't know if the newer versions, like, they put out the old versions, if it's still there, I don't know. But, but if you put in Space Kicker, you put Jeremy Adams, I would appear and I would like drink a Red Bull, like an energy drink. And then I would start running around like a crazy person, kicking around. And that was pretty much who I was. That was me. My brother would show up with nunchucks. He's really good with nunchucks. And he would start swinging nunchucks if you put in his name. And I still didn't believe they would do it. And then I went to Comic-Con the year it came out, and I went to one of the little playable stations, and I went tap, 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 and I like peered. I was like, holy crap. And I took video of it. I was like, this is great, because I didn't have the system they had it on, so I could never play it at home. I was like, it's amazing.
My kids used to play that game when they were younger, and I have that game in my house. So I'm going to go look it up
and play it.
I'm going to see if I can figure it out.
Check it out. See if there's there's this part of me that feels like when they updated it for like, oh, you can download this for the new Nintendo, they probably like, let's take those characters out. I don't know,
but save a few megabytes here.
So where does I know Space Kickers is everywhere for you. What does that entail?
So that it's a direct result of, because I'm old and I went to, when I was going to college, it was my first email address ever.
Okay.
And they were like, you have to come with this email address. And I'm from a cowboy town, and, they affectionately call cowboys there, something kickers, but I'm also like a genre nerd, and I love sci-fi and I love martial arts. So I was like, well, I'm from this, it kind of all flew together like Space Kicker. Right. And so I did that as my college email, and then it just kind of stuck. And then I just started using it more and more, because there's a level of it's a good bad problem to have. It's like people trying to find Jeremy Adams. Maybe it's hit or miss, but if you type in Space Kicker, you'll see me in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And I'll immediately, if a new social media, I'll quickly stake horse my username, even though I'll never go. Like half of them, I don't even know if they exist.
You just claim it right away.
I claim it because I was like, well, maybe it'll take off. You never know these days, right? You're just like,
you never know.
Sure.
But it's burned me before. It's like I got one, and then somebody's like, that's like an Aryan website. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I didn't know.
Oh no, really? Space Kickers?
Yeah. Well, no, not Space Kicker, but like it would be.
Oh, like the website you bought. You went into.
Yeah. It would be like.
I gotta get my thing on that. Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah. Like whatever it is, it's like there was a bunch of them. I don't know. Public was one of them, maybe, or something. I don't know. Anyways, whatever they were, I would like get it. If it was like Friendster, I'd be like Space Kicker, MySpace, Space Kicker. I'd do it.
Yeah.
It's like first, it's like, all right, I'm already there. Because doing like on Xbox, I was Space Kicker, and then my cousin on my cousin's Xbox, and my cousin kind of had like owned it. So now I'm like, I'm not that and irritated by it.
Your cousin. We actually have a friend of ours who's become friends with us from the show, who's writing a comic called The Other Kickers. She's writing a shit kicker comic.
Yeah,
Joey.
That's hilarious.
I'm still waiting. Did that? I think Kickstarter still.
It's fully funded. It's just nothing.
It's just waiting for it to come out. Yeah. Okay.
Nothing else.
Yeah, he's doing it through Kickstarter.
So we are a collector show. So we see that you have a lot of stuff behind you. What do you collect? Now you have great posters behind it, and you have some great toys behind you. What do you collect as a collector?
So comic books, mostly. There are four books that I'm primarily trying to get all of.
Okay,
which are X-Men, Daredevil, Captain America, and then oh my gosh, my brain just shut down on the other one. I don't remember for the life of me, but like. Those three in particular, Captain America, Daredevil, X-Men, are the ones that are like the big collections I'm trying to get. I have a lot of like I have all the Len Wein Blue Beetles. I have some of the Charlton Blue Beetles, and I have all the JLIs, and like I have a lot of books. It's just those in particular are ones that I want to just fill in perfectly. Yeah. And as you know, when you're a collector of anything, it tends to get out of hand. So, you're like, oh, well, I'll just pick up that too. The other thing that I didn't think I would start collecting, but Fernando Passeron, who's an artist I've worked with, a really fantastic artist, the first time he was the first artist I worked with, and it was on one of those backup future states. And he sent me the original art of the first appearance of Gold Beetle. And when I got the original art, that's a different level. That's like getting an original page is intense. So I tend to beg the artists I'm with to please, man, please, sir, I have this. Especially if it's a first appearance of a character, I'm really like, oh, please, And I've gotten some original art. I have some action figures. I've always bought little tchotchkes to things that I've worked on. So I have a lot of Lego minifigs and Lego things from different Lego shows I've been on or movies I've done, Mortal Kombat or whatnot. I do have a weird little Chuck Norris obsession that, I'm like,
the toys, the old toys.
It's like I have the cover of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. I got one of his collector coins, which is hysterical.
Wow.
And what's the best thing about it is it's like this collector Chuck Norris coin, but it says it's legal tendered in some Pacific island, which makes me laugh. Like if you go there, can you just like sell? Like you buy and sell Chuck Norris monsters. So I have like a little Chuck Norris Funko. I'm trying to think what else I got. Comics trades. I try really hard now. Because when I had a bunch of stuff on the wall, and then we had kids, and everything came off the wall. Right. Yeah, and then we moved into a bigger place, and that's not good because then you start filling that spot.
Yeah.
So those are the main ones. I also really like martial arts stuff, so I have a lot of martial art weapon stuff that I love to mess around with. Yeah, but yes, it mostly comics, and little tchotchkes here and there.
Yeah.
You just reminded me there's an action figure floating around out there that I've always keep meaning to pick up and I don't. There's a Jean-Claude Van Damme from Kickboxer figure.
Really?
And I'm like, I've seen it a few times in stores, and I'm like,
dude,
Ooh,
My dream is to get kicked through a window by Van Damme. And I've told many people this dream. In one point, I pitched Hard Target 3. It was the best pitch of my life. And people were like, oh my gosh. And I thought it was going to happen. And I was like, all I care about is in the contract, I have to be able to get kicked through a window. Like, that's all I want. I know he has a place here in Los Angeles. And honestly, if you want to see a grown man turn into a blithering idiot, it would be if I saw Van Damme. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! You know.
Honestly, look up the figure when you get a chance. Just look at the images. He's got the face. You know the screaming face.
Yeah,
that's one of those heads. That you could substitute. He's like,
oh wow, really?
Yeah, it's great.
I would love for McFarlane to do stuff like that, man. I'd kill
some
like
old stuff,
like action movie stuff, right? Yeah. But like. I've always looking for figures from action movies that like no one's going to make a figure from.
Yeah, no one's going to make the Dudikoff American Ninja, but they should.
I was just going to say American Ninja. Yeah. I want a Sho Kosugi figure too.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, right.
Come on, let's just do a ninja toy line. Would just be epic,
right?
Freaking epic.
Let's get that done.
Ninja
toy line.
Yeah, Richard Harris and Ninja Terminator.
Oh, come on! And then you get the Lee Von Cleef. You remember he was in the Master TV show? Did you ever see that?
Oh yes,
where he was.
Yes.
Yeah, Demi Moore was in the pilot. Yeah,
right.
It sounds like a successful line.
Oh yeah, we would make
the people of a certain age will love it.
People of a certain age who spend their cash, their dispensable cash on nonsense, as you can see from behind me, nonsense that we have loaded up there.
Yeah.
You really don't think people would buy a New York Ninja action figure? The roller skates?
No, I don't. I don't think so. Yeah, but
I don't know.
But I'm the guy who still wants a whole entire Warriors line of action.
Oh, that would be great.
That would be great. Like the freaking clowns. Like
I want everybody. I want them to do every single one of the gangs. Yeah, I want
everybody. I know the guy who wrote its daughter, and I love the Warriors. It's such a
love the Warriors.
So good.
I know they did a couple of comic books. I was hoping at some point someone takes that again and starts like doing another comic book series. It's been a while since they did it. So
did you ever hear Robert? I think it's Robert Townsend. He has a great story about he was in the Warriors as an extra. He milks the scene where the guy gets killed, and everybody's running, and he pauses, and he's like, just to have a little extra screen time. Look up Robert Townsend.
I've seen it a million times, that movie. I see that movie all the time.
Look up him talking about the Warriors, which is really funny.
We actually had we had a podcast before we had our YouTube channel. We had Tom Swaite on, who gets killed in the Warriors, and he told us the whole story about being on set. It was awesome.
Yeah,
that was really
cool.
I love that movie.
They played a double feature of that and Escape from New York here at the New Bev, and I think that's a great double feature.
That's a great double feature.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a good picture of New York City at that time.
What it was and what people thought it was going to become.
Yeah.
Oh, not Turtle Bay.
Not Turtle Bay. No.
Yeah, 100%. Way to bring it back around, by the way. That's good.
I tried. What do you have any appearances coming up that people can see you at?
No, I mean, my convention circuit's done for the year. I don't know what it's going to be next year. I did have a call, really something fun that's going to be far off in another country, which will be fun. But, other than that, I've got the DCKO tie-ins that are coming out. One that's not announced. I'll still be going on Aquaman. Aquaman is really ramping up. There's some big moves happening in Aquaman, and then Green Lantern. Again, Kyle's going to take a bigger spotlight in a lot of the Green Lantern stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then coming next year, I'm going to have Nightfall, the movie coming out, which I'm excited about too.
Great. I'm looking forward to that. I want to see how that translates to film.
So how did you have time to come on with us today? It seems like you're doing a lot of stuff.
What are you doing here?
Just say yes. If you just say yes, you kind of make it work, right? Like that's kind of the thing.
I say no to nothing. If someone contacts me and wants to, I say no to them. And
that's so not true.
No, it 100% is. I've never said no to them. We get in, and I know you're about our age, so you will appreciate this story. I get an email about a month and a half ago from James Pax, and James Pax played Lightning in Big Trouble in Little China. Oh, right. And I love that movie.
My favorite movie.
There you go. One of my favorite movies. Yeah. And he's like, I want to come on the show. We don't reach out to him like I reached out to you to come on the show. He reaches out to us. I want to come on your show. And he has all of these things that he needs for us to do.
Wild.
And we get him on the show. And now James Pax literally messages me every other day just about stuff. He wants us to moderate his panels that coming up at shows. We're arranging appearances, and it's just like, how did we get here? Because I don't say no.
Our interview with him turned into a job interview. We got hired by James Pax.
That's amazing. I love stuff like that so much. I don't know if you know the Ree brothers, Simon Ree and Philip Ree. They were in Best of the Best. They were like the stars of Best of the Best.
Okay.
Like Simon Ree was the main good guy, and his brother was the bad guy. And so my daughters are taking karate from this dojo down there, and they were doing a symposium. They came in to do a symposium. I'm like, holy crap! It's the best of the best guys. My kids got to go. My kids are like, who are these guys? I'm like, shut up, just go learn to kick. And I'm sitting there talking to this other guy, and the guy next to me is James Liu, and he was in Big Trouble in Little China. He was an associate producer on Big Trouble in Little China, but he's also been in 1,000 different things. Yeah. And the minute I realized what happened, I nerded out on that guy so hard. Like, he was just like, I think he was like, oh, and I'm like, remember in Perfect Weapon when you're fighting Jesse? He's just like, oh,
Perfect Weapon. Oh my God, that's a movie I haven't thought of in a long time.
Great, it's great. That Rapid Fire are two of the martial art movies nobody wants. Anyways, that's cool about that.
Well, that's how we got hired, because he started talking about the movie, and we were like I know everything about the movie, and I told the story about how I have my friends from high school. So that movie came out of high school. If I see a certain group of my friends from high school, we still do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then I'm feeling kind of good.
He was like, you know the movie. Like, I know that movie inside and out.
That's great. I love that.
You know what? Before I want to take a weird left turn all of a sudden, because again, we were talking about this just before we started recording, but I got to bring up that Micronauts Compendium again.
Yes.
Because honestly, it's one of my all-time favorite comic book series, and I actually just finished getting the monthlies.
Yeah.
I finished the monthly series. Yeah.
Wow. I picked that up because... Go ahead.
The one with Captain...
Planet.
No.
Captain...
Cosmic. Yeah, Captain Cosmic. That one is usually very expensive. The one I have is in terrible condition. That's the only way I was able to get it. But that series, what do you think of it? What did you think of it?
I mean, the funny thing is I haven't even finished it. I just bought it recently. It was because Rob Liefeld had mentioned it on his podcast about how much he loved it. And then I picked it up and I started reading it, and I was like, this is cuckoo bananas. And but in the best possible way, right?
Right.
Like, it's when that's my favorite type of movies. That's my favorite type of media, is people that just obviously, again, got away with something, right? Because you're sitting there going like, well, what is this? Right. And I'm enjoying it so far, but it's so far afield from what I thought it was going to be,
Yes, it's really weird.
Yeah, but I dig it so far. Yeah,
Bill Mantlo took this weird toy tie-in and just did this strange political.
Thank goodness they did. Because the worst thing is, doing the bad version of the toy tie-in, right?
Yeah, there's been some of those.
Seen a lot of those,
But
but I also just like the way I remember things. Like, I remember seeing, like, as a kid, I would only get to see a couple episodes of Black Star, and in my mind, that's an epic. Yeah. Like a magic sword that was split, and the Trobets and blah 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 blah. But because back in the day, if you missed an episode, you missed it. You missed it.
You missed part of it.
Oh my gosh!
Sure. Yeah,
the G.I. Joe
rewatch it.
Oh my gosh, the Serpentor saga was like the height of television drama, and I missed like 2 episodes. I was like, wait, no, like I got to get home, Mom. You don't understand. There's no reruns. What do you mean?
I'll never see it again. It will never be on
again. Ever. I will just have to understand that they got Genghis Khan's DNA. Maybe they did. I don't know.
Now, is there a toy tie-in you think you'd like to write? Something you think you would be like, this would be fun.
I would love to do something in G.I. Joe, just because I love Snake Eyes. I love Quick Kick. I have a special affinity for Quick Kick.
Back to the martial arts guys. Yeah.
The martial arts stuff. Yeah. And just also that, like, as far as toy tie-ins, I don't know. I mean, growing up, there's no bigger fan of Thundercats than I was, but there have been, how do I put it? It's like a lot of toys tie-ins, a lot of people that own the rights to those. You're not going to get paid well. Yeah. You have to jump through a lot of hoops.
Right. Yes.
There is a toy tie-in I actually tried to buy at one point, and And I thought no one would possibly want this toy tie. And I had like this lightning strike me. And sometimes when that happens, it's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go buy this from Warner. I think they're just going to hand it over, and you run into so many roadblocks. There is a couple of, Warner Animation titles that I have an idea for. And maybe when my exclusive is over, I can have a conversation with Dynamite to do it or something. That would be really fun. I don't know. We have a working agreement with them right now.
Dynamite, yeah. We're getting like previews.
We get a bunch of, we get all of their writers come through us too now. Which is really cool. Yeah, cool. And they're doing some great stuff with that 80s stuff. They're really.
Oh yeah, no, they're doing great stuff.
They have Thunder the Barbarian coming out soon, which I can't wait.
Jason Aaron's doing it.
I can't wait. I can't wait for it to come out.
That was the show. It'd come on Sundays, and that was the only show that was terrible. But I would try to feign sickness to get out of church so I could watch it. And there's just no way,
One season.
This is going to really condemn me as a super nerd. I bought the Blu-ray of the series.
Wow.
I have the Blu-ray at home, and I actually watched all of them.
I love that.
Wow. I had fond memories of it when I was a kid,
Yeah. No, the Toth designs are so good.
Oh, and it's such a weird story.
Such a weird story.
Yeah. But I don't care. That opening is so rad. Super science and the moon splitting. You're like, man. This is all plausible.
Right I would watch it now, live action right now. I would watch.
Oh, dude. 100%.
Thank you so much for
really
giving you our time. If you ever want to come back on to promote anything, you are welcome back on here anytime. We'd love to hear what the other KO thing is down the road.
I'll take you up on that because I'd like to do a creator own. So we'll see. Perfect. We'll see what that looks like someday.
Good. And maybe come on before the premiere of Nightfall and we can talk about
that. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. That'd be fun. You're welcome anytime. I'll reach out. I'll send you a link to this one. It's up a couple of weeks somewhere. But thank you. This was great. Had a really good time.
I had a great time too.
Bucket list item checked off. You were on my show.
Oh yeah.
Seriously.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You too. Enjoy.
Bye.